Okay, grade sevens, we're looking at Western Africa, and now we're looking at expressions of culture. Of course, before this, we looked at archaeology. I've loved your assignments coming in. Some of you chose old iPods, others chose fidget spinners. We had a milk jug of some sort. Great objects you chose. That's fantastic, and you have been hypothesizing about what these were. So, as you can imagine, lots of objects are dug up all over the world. And Africa is a continent that has many archaeological sites. So lots of people are digging things up all the time and finding what people have used in history as expressions of their culture. So, for example, if in 2,000 years some people did dig up an old iPod or an iPhone, that is an expression of our culture, right? Your culture. We've talked about this before. Your phones, your smartphones, and all your technology, that is part of who you are. That is part of our culture. Okay, in Western Africa, things that have been dug up in the past as part of their culture. So let's dig into it. So artifacts and culture, you have seen how Africa is the cradle of humanity. What do you think artifacts found by archaeologists can tell us about the cultures of the people who live on the African continent? The cultural traditions of many people in Africa are deeply rooted in the past. Some of these traditions are still followed today. Others have changed through time. So we're going to explore dance, music, and art in Western Africa. We're going to look at some instruments. We're going to look at some interesting things that they use to express their culture. So music and dance. The traditional musical instruments of West Africa had many purposes. They were used in religious ceremonies and celebrations. They were also used for entertainment. Dancing usually accompanied the playing of these instruments. Many of these ceremonies and celebrations are still practiced today. Look at the following instruments. At the top there is called a jelly-koni. A jelly-koni. The bottom left is a shekere. Shekere. Or shaker, I imagine. The bottom right, I believe, tiohun. Tiohun. I'm not sure how to pronounce that word, but it's a really neat instrument. I want you to look that up. It's similar to what we would call an xylophone. What instruments in Canada are similar to the ones you see here? I just answered that question for you for one of them. What other instruments do you think they kind of resemble? The next slide here, this shows this is called a dancing drum. So that's used for drum dancing, which we're going to get into in a second. And then the next one on the right, I forget the name of it, but it looks like some sort of a horn, which would be similar to, it's on the tip of my tongue, not a trumpet, but some sort of a horn like that where it would be quite loud, I can imagine. So dance drumming. The most important instrument in West African music is the drum. Drumming is combined with dancing to tell stories from the people's cultures. People gather together to watch and listen to the dance drummers. These performances are a community event. Dance drumming is used for many, many things. Dance drumming is used for religious ceremonies. So it's part of the religious rites of birth, death, and coming of age. They're used in the military. It prepares warriors for battle and celebrates peace. It's also used at social events. So dance drumming celebrates hunting and fishing and cloth making. Young people form clubs to perform traditional dances and create new ones. I was reading this and learning about dance drumming and thinking there's quite a big connection here to our First Nations communities. Our First Nations communities have all kinds of dance drumming that happens, and we saw that their drum is perhaps just as important in their culture as it is in the West African cultures. Art. What is art? That is a very, very big question that many scholars are still trying to answer today. Some people literally go into years and years of education to answer that question. What are some different types of art? Why do you think people create art? What role does art play in your life and in the lives of people in your community? I know that many of you are artists. I know that many of you love art with Miss Sinclair. And so art reflects the beliefs and values that are important to a culture. So when you do something with Miss Sinclair in art class, it reflects you and it reflects the culture around you. In West Africa, art is created to express emotions, pass along morals, for worship, and to show wealth and power. So we're going to begin with textiles. Do you like to wear a colorful outfit on special occasions? Do you have a favorite shirt? I know that many of you do, because when we have dress down days, you wear them. Textile designs in West Africa contain symbols that are understood by people in their culture. Some symbols may have been used for generations to remind people of their heritage. The designs are often woven into the cloth. Sometimes they are stamped on the fabric using dye or ink. And also, sculpture is very important in West African art. Have you ever made or seen a statue or a sculpture? What was the purpose of the meaning? I know that many of you have, because I have seen them showcased in the junior school hallway. I believe the ceramic sculptures that you have been making. In West African religions, statues traditionally represent spirits and dead relatives. These statues are not exactly copies of these people. They are representations. If you can see there, this one looks very much like a representation of a person. It does not look like an actual person, but it looks sort of like a representation of them. This means that they may look like a person, but the head may be larger because it is the center of the person's future, success or failure. Or maybe the person is in a certain pose or position. Many are made of wood, such as the one that you see here. So for your assignment, for the past 2 slideshows, there have been many bold words throughout both of them, the archaeology one and this one. I want you to answer the discussion forum question under assignments in the MyKES portal. It's a very simple one. You're going to look back and you're going to look at each bold word, okay? And you're going to define each one in both of the previous 2 slideshows that I've put up on MyKES under topics. Those slideshows, this one of course is lesson 8, the last one is lesson 7. For each word, I want you to define it and use it in a sentence. Okay, so you should be able to find a bunch of words. There should be approximately 10, maybe a couple of more, and I want you to define each word, use each one in a sentence, and post that answer on the discussion forum. This will take a little bit of time. It's not a really quick assignment, but it shouldn't take longer than this class. I might give you a little bit of time into the next class, but you probably will be fine finishing it up today. Okay, that's it, folks. West Africa, love it. This has been great. I hope you have a fantastic and wonderful day, even though here in Port Williams, I'm looking outside right now and it is quite rainy, but that's okay. We can stay inside, do school, finish all our work, and then play some video games or something. Have a great day.